I want them to take us serious. Stop dismissing us because we're young. Stop dismissing us because we don't know what's best for us, because we do, because we're the ones that's experiencing the laws you put into our schools. So listen to the people that it's affecting. I don't understand, why don't we fund our people who can actually care for our students? Because schools are supposed to be not only a place of education, but a place of love as well.
We should get rid of all cops out of schools and replace them with somebody who can deal with emotional issues with students, because mostly they're there to break up fights and to, take students who may not be able to be in a classroom setting at that moment and remove them from it. And, that doesn't need to be somebody armed with a gun. That doesn't need to be somebody, with a full bulletproof vest and that whole garb. It needs to be somebody who can genuinely connect, like a counselor or a school social worker, who's more trained at the mental health side, because students get aggravated at schools. That goes back to mental health.
I would tell the school board to, really listen to us. The first priority is the student. So with that being said, then the first voice you should listen to and the main voice you should listen to should always be the student. And when you have students calling for the removal of SROs and calling for a representation within their education in a more just and loving and safe environment, then you have to listen. And they're not.
We stand with all the students who have been in the streets recently here in Wake County, in Durham County, in Oakland, in Denver, in Phoenix, in Chicago, in Philadelphia, and throughout the United States who are calling for removal of SROs. As adults, it behooves us to listen. It is our duty, our responsibility to listen and to provide for these youth as they create their own path toward the safety that they envision for themselves. As Wake County School Board officials, fund policing and not the things that students are calling on for support, that they are intentionally, deliberately investing in the criminalization of Black and Latinx youth. Statewide, 45% of all juvenile justice complaints are coming from schools, 45%. So it's not only a Wake County issue, it's also a statewide issue.
Since 2012, through the Education Justice Alliance, we have been pointing at the problem of criminalizing Black and brown families by the zero tolerance policies. When we ask the school district, what's your plan to hire more nurses? The answer we get is there is no plan. Just to hear that they don't have a plan when you have a health crisis, it's a global health crisis that we've never seen, and they just signed the MOU and put the same amount of money into police, and they're not putting any money into nurses or even developing a hotline to actually be able to answer parents' questions in the middle of the pandemic. It's something that really worries us. The most immediate demand is immediately remove police officers from the school and invest in Peacebuilders.
Take resources and create a Peacebuilder program, right? Which is a community intervention worker that comes from the community, that's trained in conflict resolution, in de-escalation techniques, in circle keeping, and in restorative practices, that creates, again, an environment that allows young people to develop healthy relationships in schools, so that if there is conflict, or even before there's conflict, right, that we are shifting the environment and culture of the school that recognize the inherent value of these young people, and that young people are coming into the building from different places, and so that means that there needs to be supports in school.
They can build relationship with the students, with the families, but they can also mentor the school community, the classroom teachers, principals, into how they can turn the school environment to a more relationship-centered school. But they're gonna be able to intervene in the misbehavior, and it's not gonna result into a referral to the criminal juvenile courts. Guess what? Because they don't have the power to arrest a student. Their training is not to profile you as potential criminal. Their training is to see you as a human being.
I'm demanding that Wake County Public Schools make a commitment to cut all funding that they put towards police in schools, and you're gonna redirect that money and create peace builders and counselors for our students. If I'm going through something, having a terrible day, going through whatever happened before I got to school, of course I'm gonna have issues when I get to school. And the last thing that I need to see is somebody walking up to the door telling me to come out, and that person got a gun and a nightstick and some mace and a taser and everything too, and a badge and a monopoly on violence. They can do whatever they want to me when it comes to violence, but I can't do anything back. That only amps up and makes whatever I'm dealing with at home even worse. So instead, school is supposed to be a place we can come through and just focus on learning. Let all that trauma, everything you're dealing with outside of school, go. Just focus on a nice, safe, nurturing environment. So instead of that cop being at that door waiting for me, I want to see a counselor, somebody with a smiling face, a peace builder, somebody that understands the issues that we're going through outside of our schools. So the number one demand is that Wake County take all that money that they have for funding for cops and put that back into peace builders and counselors and therapists that we need.